Says yes. Now it says live. Hello, everybody. It's Gaz here from American Hammers TV. Thank you all for joining me. My co-host tonight is the big man himself, Wayne from
You
Dallas
wanker.
Hammers. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to say it. We're joined. We're joined today by Luc Bailey from Irons United. How you doing, Luke?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. She's having me on the show.
No problem, no problem. Quickly, before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff, a quick mention to our sponsors. Head over to drinkwaredesign.com for all your personal customizable there you go, Wayne, thank you, mugs
filled with dead rabbit,
or if you're looking for something else to fill that mug with, head over to stravacraftcoffee.com. There you go. So let's get into the show.
Oh, now I suppose you want the big man to take over, don't you?
Yeah, I wanted to do the intro for a little bit. I've got to do it in stages, mate.
I'll take over from the skinny little runt then for a little bit. How's that sound?
Yeah, please.
You know, what is it, Luke? It's like you put on a few pounds and all of a sudden you become the big fella or the big lad or the big man. So I'm just saying, this is my co-host, the fat fella, the fat, bald-headed, loudmouth geezer. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, well, from where I'm from, that's a compliment. So when you take the offence to that, that's a bit
Yeah, I know, mate. I'm just busting Gaz's chops. I really am. So look, let's start off the way we usually start this off here, and we'll go into Irons United and everything afterwards. But first of all, let's start off. How long have you actually been a West Ham supporter?
Well, I'm 28 years old, and I started supporting them when I was about 8, 9, 10. Feels like about 50 years that I've been supporting them now, to be fair. The amount of stress they put into me and, what I've had to go through with them. So
we can see it in your beard as well, mate.
Yeah.
Some greys in there.
So, yeah, greys. Ain't just food stains, mate. That's age stains.
Serious, right? Serious. So was all your family West Ham supporters, or was it you brought up around the area? How did that happen?
Well, all my family are from sort of London. My sort of grandparents were very much East Londoners, and it all sort of went that way. And then since I think my dad and all his side of the family moved from like Essex area, and we sort of I call it emigrating to sort of local counties around sort of like Suffolk area and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
mate.
That's where I'm from, Suffolk.
Oh, decent, good lad.
In town.
Sweet as that. Yeah, that's it really. And basically it was sort of a family thing at the time. But then my family, my sort of mum's side is more Arsenal, and then my dad's side was West Ham. And at the time, my best mates were Man United. So
Ooh.
I was at the time as well. It was a Ferguson era. They had a lot of success going on. And to be honest with you, when I wasn't really into it. They was they was sort of trying to go, oh, why don't you become a Man United fan? Become a Man United fan. And my dad wasn't having none of it, to be fair, at the start.
Good for your dad.
And yeah, he was sort of like along the lines of going, well, if you want to support them, you can live somewhere else. Even 8, 9 years old, he weren't having it. He was like, right, bags are packed, see you later. And then one day he basically just said, oh look, I said to him, well, why do I have to support mate West Ham? And he was like, well, look, all right. It's a family thing. Your granddad supports them. As soon as he went, granddad supports them. I was like, oh, I'll support them then. It's fine. And he was like,
done deal.
So right. So if I'm supporting them, it wasn't good enough. But in the end, it was. I've never regretted it. And even though I've tried to a few times, but it's ingrained in me now. It's in the blood.
Come on, we've all had times where we've regretted it. Let's be honest here. There's always been the odd game where you've gone, why on earth?
I've regretted it since this Asia Cup happened, because as much as we've been over there and made a lot of money over there and seen how big we are within the Chinese support, we just got dicked over by City and 1-0 at Newcastle. So I'm not feeling brilliant for the start of the season, to be honest. But
did that really bother you? Did you really think we were going to go over there and do anything?
No, it was always a money thing to me. You look at that when most clubs are going now, when they go abroad, it's just for the money. I mean, if you're going to go to China, you go there for the money, for salaries and stuff. So you're going there for a pre-season tournament. That's all they want. They want exposure, and but obviously, as it's proved, we've got fans out there who get to see us in the flesh, where they might not have if we just stuck out in England. In the UK, having a little local pre-season tournament. So the fact we can go over there and see how well we're supported out there as well, there's little bonuses here and there. But the loss to City, I'm not surprised with. To getting beaten by Steve Bruce's Newcastle 1-0, I was a bit surprised with, and I did expect a bit more from that, to be fair.
See, that didn't surprise me at all, because I figured, going into that like third, fourth place thing, which was worthless as far as I was concerned. I was like, okay, what have we got to play for here? I mean, the lads have just basically got to go. They've got to show Pilly that they know what they're doing. He's going to be trying things out, and I think all of the lads of Newcastle they've got to impress their new boss. So I think they had a lot more to play for than we did there.
Yeah, maybe right. Yeah, yeah, that's a fair point.
I completely agree with that. For me, I didn't get up and watch the game because it was on at 3 a.m. here for me, and I get up between 3 and 4 a.m. Monday to Friday. So Saturdays and Sundays are like the only time that I can really sleep in. So I was like, nah, fuck that. Yeah, I ain't having it. But I woke up sort of like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I looked at the score. And it was 1-0. I was like, nah. But pre-season for me is basically it's just fitness. That's all it is. It doesn't mean anything. It's just fitness.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about it's good that the Chinese fans got to see the team live. When was your first live experience of West Ham, Luke?
Oh, this was. Let me take you back to a simpler time. No, it was. I remember it. It was Glenn Roeder's. I think his first season with us, when we finished 7th. This is a funny story actually. We beat Bolton 2-1 on the final day, and it was Ian Pearce scored the winner from a last-minute corner.
Oh, blimey.
And it was brilliant. It was for a first game experience. I was up in the gods with my granddad, who took me there with my cousin as well, family cousin, and someone else as well. And it's funny because I watched towards the end of the game when all the players were doing a lap of honour around the pitch. And just before that, Repka, I believe it was Repka, if my memory serves me right, he got the ball and he just smashed it into the crowd. Not horribly, like a nice gesture, like this, but it was a bit like, let's see who can catch this. Right now, it was a melee, and I watched as a young kid. I was like, oh my god, the ball's gone to the crowd. It's amazing. Anyway, a week later, it turns out we went to a family barbecue, and family friends of ours are actually ones who caught the ball, and they managed to put it under a fleece. So when everyone was trying to look around for this ball that's been kicked into the crowd, they hid it under their fleece, and they took it home, and it still had like the grass stains and everything on it. It was a bit
bloody tea leaves.
I know, literally. So yeah, it was a great. I'll always remember it. It was. I couldn't really take in everything with the the singing the songs, everything like that. But look, I'm an 8-year-old. I'm a 10-year-old kid going to a game of football, and the club I loved, and goals were good. It was very ironic being the fact that Sam Allardyce was managing Bolton at the time, and JJ Koch scored an amazing free kick at half time. And it's just now you're telling me I'll get all these reminiscent memories now, and I'm taking too long to get through the story. But but it was Bolton 2-1, Ian Pearce last minute winner. Don't get many of them at West Ham, so it was nice. I feel privileged.
Yeah, you don't, do you? See, all I remember my first game, which was bloody, oh, blimey, how many years ago? About 48 years ago, was my granddad's cigarette ash being dumped on my head all the time. That's all I bloody remember from it. I remember that my dad saying something about Clive Best, being the best type of person he'd ever seen play football, but that was a different era. Definitely a different era. But I also remember my granddad saying to me, "See, that's why you don't judge a book by its color." That's what he said to me. But yeah, I mean that was another era. But yeah, I loved watching Clive Best play after that, and that was my first match where we beat Chelsea. I think we beat Chelsea. I think it was 2-1 we beat Chelsea. I can't remember. That's going back donkey's years. But yeah, the one thing that I remember about that match is my granddad bought his kidney pie. And his cigarette ash just being totally all the time was going like that because he was just like it was always going on the edge.
See, back then that's tough love, and
yeah,
nowadays that's child abuse. So
yeah, seriously, right?
It was you give what you get, mate.
Yeah,
maybe that's what happened with that's what happened with your hair. Maybe that's
I think so. I think it took root. Cool, blimey. Cool, blimey. I mean, there were fun times there, right? I mean, it's like your childhood memories of going to West Ham. It's fun. it's definitely a good laugh.
Yeah, the funny. I must admit, I went very, very few times to Tottenham Park, and a lot of it was down to circumstances and cost at the time.
Oh yeah,
And I was very, very lucky to be. Well, I say lucky, but almost everyone's getting one now. Season ticket for the new stadium, but it's one of those where every time I did go to Upton Park, it was I went about maybe 5, 6 times, something like that. And in both cup games we lost, and all the league games we won. And it's funny because I always had this thing when we started going to the new stadium, going, "Oh, I've never seen a league loss." And it was, I don't know, I've been to about 2 games or something, and then Watford come, we were 2-0 up at half time. I thought, oh, this is it, I've got this record now, we're never going to lose again. And then suddenly when Dick does 4-2, score 4 passes, I was like, oh, this is brilliant, isn't it? It's like,
yeah. Welcome to West Ham.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Reality.
So speaking of the new stadium, what was your first impressions going there versus being back at Upton Park?
I was for the move before we moved because the way they sold it, and I thought, so, do you know what, the way football's going, it's probably if you're going to do it right, then fantastic. I think the season that we had before we moved helped with having players like Payet on fire, and it was all a feel good atmosphere. And I think generally people were up for it. Obviously, you had a certain your headphones are right there, mate.
No, I got asked a question in the chat. It was what headphones they were, so I was going to just type it back to him.
But
anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt, Jim. It was HyperX, mate. That's what they are.
Decent. I think them themselves. Yeah, no. I think I was up for it, but to be honest with you, since we've moved, there's been so many flaws to it. It's ridiculous. I'm not being funny, but everything about the club has changed. And I think, to be honest with you, I know quite a few people who don't go to West Ham. They've almost disowned West Ham completely. I know a lot of people say you're not a true fan if you do that, but I can kind of understand where you're coming from, because West Ham weren't just about a football team. It weren't just about a club. It weren't just about a stadium. It was about everything. It was the whole aura of the era.
It was about the buzz, man. It was about
London.
people.
Yeah, everything, and they literally just stripped that. They lied to us. It's all there's a lot of documentation, a lot of videos. I won't go into it right now, but I thought it was going to take us onto the next level. And look at it, we're 3 or 4 seasons in, and we're still trying to get there. And it's like this should have happened from the moment we moved into that stadium, but it hasn't happened yet. And who knows if it will happen? But hopefully it will.
I think will we just been like pie in the sky though, thinking it was going to happen? I mean, were we stupid believing?
No.
I mean, quite frankly, I think we were just like, I mean, when they told us like everything that was going to happen, I sat back in the pub over in America, and I went, yeah, it's not going to happen. I mean, I just went, nah, it's not going to bloody happen, because I remember them promising shit in the past and going, yeah, they never delivered on anything in the past. West Ham has never delivered on anything.
No, you're right. I think there is a certain level to that where you go, you would be a bit naivety maybe to think that it was all going to go brilliantly well. But I think a lot of it goes, well, look, if we're going to move, you've got to make this happen. You've got to make this work. This has to work. Otherwise, you get things like the Burnley protests.
Yeah.
That is fundamental. You can't just rip a team like West Ham, which is very unique, is the word I'm going to use, which is fan base wise, history wise, everything about it. To go and take them out of that and expect them to just go, well, it hasn't worked out. There you go. We tried, we failed. It's something.
Yeah,
it's deeper than that. But the funny thing about it is the little things that make you laugh. Is I know season ticket holders at Upton Park who say that when they brought in the castle, the two turrets outside Upton Park of the stadium, a lot of fans were against that because they thought it made it look too cartoony, too Disney-like. And it was one of them things where I think you're getting something where there are always going to be doubters.
See, I remember that.
We don't want to do that. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember them going, what, they think it's bloody Disney World or something?
Yeah.
See, that, and that's why it's like now when people talk about things, I'm like, you know what? I think West Ham fans are good at 2 things. I think West Ham fans are good at supporting the team through thick and thin and singing their hearts out. And I think we're good at having a good old piss in the moan.
Yeah.
We're also good at fucking moaning about everything as well.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Seriously. Yeah, it's funny. I was checking out your Twitter feed today, and you made a comment on West Ham Gossip's tweet about The government Sports Ground Safety Authority have announced that they will be bringing in a new enforcement policy on persistent standing for next season, and will be looking at the risk assessments in high-risk areas at West Ham games. And I won't say what your comment was, but let's just say, if you're really interested in it, you should see you next Tuesday. But how do you feel about that? And what do you think they'll be doing? I mean, that's ridiculous in my book. I mean, football's all about standing.
Don't get me wrong, right? I understand it if you're doing it health and safety wise and whatever. And if you're standing up in front of someone's view and you're blocking their view, and it's a bit out of place. You're like, come on, mate, let's sit down. Everyone else is sitting down. If we're on an attack and everyone's kind of standing up, if you're just like a low standee, then fair enough. But I've been there for 3 or 4 years now, and I think when we moved in, the company that were in charge of getting stewards in, they were the Olympic Committee. So these are people who were used to dealing with either the 2012 committee, and also people that were just used to events. You go to concerts and stuff like that. People are sort of a bit more, I don't want to say less passionate, but they're not a football crowd, if you get what I mean. I'm not saying football fans are all hooligans and what the press like to tarnish them with, but within a few games, it seemed to be that the stewards or the companies around become very aggressive to West Ham fans. It was always like there's a lot of videos going around and a lot of photos being taken of stewards going like, oh, they're like smirking when they're kicking people out, and they're targeting certain sections of fans who are literally just staying up and singing, not doing anything else, and going, right, this is our section. We're going to get a few of you. We're going to ban a few of you today. And then you go around to a lot of supporters and they'll say, look, all we want to do is stand up and sing. We don't come here to fight the stewards. We want to come here to watch the game. That's why we come to the game in the first place. But they're being targeted like criminals and hooligans. And I know obviously you can't paint everyone with the same brush or whatever, but I just think I have an aggression towards it because it's been nagging at me for so many years that this could be such a well-run club, well-run stadium where everyone has a great atmosphere. But because we're still being run by a committee that aren't anything to do with football, there's a stewarding, even the people, but with all due respect, even people selling food at the counters, they've got no. It's very like, oh, we're Saturday workers, we're one-day workers, and it's a bit like at Upton Park. You got to know the stewards. The stewards knew how to deal with a football crowd. They
were part of the West Ham family.
Yeah, passionately singing, letting get on with it. But this is very much corporate, like sit down, shut up. Be like a tennis crowd, if you know what I mean. Be like a Wimbledon. And it's been that way for a little while. People say, look, eventually this is going to turn into a Wimbledon crowd. And I every now and then I have a look around the stadium, see what it's like. It's a lot better than when it first moved in. It's like almost like you look around and there'd be fighting going on in the stands. There'd be fighting with the stewards. It'd be like, police having to get involved with certain sections of the crowd. But fundamentally, I just think that until we get football stewards in, you're going to have problems with standing, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because people are going to start, rejecting people, and there's going to be more confrontations, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can see that. I mean, I watch football over in the States for what they claim to be football, which is the MLS, but it's all there is. And I know that when I ran a supporters group over here, and I was always getting told to shut up and sit down. And I just turned around and said, listen, mate, I'm here every bloody game. I'm here before the game. I'm here after the game. You're here for one game. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm standing. If you don't like it, move down there. They'll move you. This is the standing section. So do you think they could go a long way towards creating standing sections? I mean, I know that is it Rangers now? I've got like a standing area with standing section seats.
It's set to be. It's being outlined with the court system and within the law and regulations of football that they're going to bring more safe standing. How long that's going to be, I don't know, because they say this a lot of times just to appease fans, and then nothing happens, and then you get the bad feeling towards it again. But honestly, this is my problem: is the fact that all of this should have been sorted before we moved in. This is the whole aspect of it, is that kind of we've been shoehorned into the stadium, and we've kind of got to deal with it. And we're football fans; we're too passionate to deal with it. Sometimes to jump, we don't say how high. We say, well, you jump first. That's the sort of thing where we're kind of that confrontational, but we don't mean it to be that horribly. It's just the way we are. But until West Ham can go, right, we're going to buy the stadium off you. The committee council who don't want it, because it's a white elephant in Stratford. It's something that they can't get money out of it anyway. We're the only thing still keeping it alive.
Mm-hmm.
Until we go, right, call your bluff. We'll have a stadium and we'll make it into a football stadium. We'll bring football people into it, football stewards, football, anyone surrounded with that, to get in. It's not really going to change, but hopefully it will. I look, if you're a steward, fair play. You don't want to deal with a lot of bad action on a match day, and if you're one of the nice stewards, then I'm sorry you get caught up in that. You're only trying to do your job. But there are some organisers, and there are some people who do I do believe target certain supporters who just go out to have a good time, really, and don't mean to cause any harm. But I think hopefully it'll improve. Hopefully it will improve.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. Gaz, I see you checking over there in the chat room. Is there much going on in the chat room? This is usually about the time when we actually check in on the chat room.
Yeah, there's a bit of conversation going there, but before I do that though, I'm glad that you mentioned the point of potentially buying the stadium, because originally we wanted to buy the stadium and have it built for football and use it for athletics. I believe that's what it was, but they were like, no. We're going to build an athletic stadium and then you guys can use it. Like, what do you think? Your personal opinion, what do you think they could do to the stadium, or do you think we will eventually buy it out and make it more of our own? Do you think we'll do something like what Spurs did at White Hart Lane to the new lane, or like what do you think?
I think this, like I said, we kind of been shoehorned into the stadium, so we can only do a certain amount, and I understand that. My whole problem being, if you're going to move us, you need to make sure that all this stuff is sorted out before we move. And I honestly don't think they did that. I think they sold us that. They sold us saying, look, this will be this, this will be that. Yeah, and it didn't happen. And rather than come out and go, look, it hasn't worked out. We're really sorry, and we're going to try and do everything we can in the next 10 years to try and make it into a football stadium. That's different. Maybe that's a bit naive for business. You don't want to say that to your customers because they go, oh, well, I'm not going to wait 10 years for this to be a football stadium.
Yeah.
But obviously, we saw the plans recently where they were going to try and square off the end sections of the ground.
Yeah.
So the goal, the stands behind the goal will be squared off like a traditional football stadium. That was meant to happen this year or next year. But those plans have been scrapped now or delayed for another couple of seasons. So we're not going to see that as early as we thought we were going to see it. So I haven't got hope really for them to make it any better. I think we're going to have to just sit. Unfortunately, got to sit by and wait for something to be done. So far, in my personal opinion, the only thing that's changed about the owners is bringing in players for
better quality.
Yeah. Since the protests happened, I think the protests were a massive part of that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's the only thing that's happened so far. So who knows? Maybe if there's another protest that happens in a couple of years, and people get too fed up of being in a rented stadium and all the rest of it. But it's not. I don't think it's a terrible stadium. It's not an absolute shit stadium. It's just not the stadium that we were promised, and it probably won't be for quite some time, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Do you think
we've got what we got, and we have to deal with it right now?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Do you think we can, with the current owners that we have, move on to that next level, or do you think we need either to be bought out or have investment from elsewhere?
Fundamentally, no, we won't move on to the next level.
I agree.
We'll try, maybe get there, but we won't move on to the next level. And the reason being is the fact that I kind of think we've been a victim of our own success. So you see last season when we brought in Yarmolenko, Anderson, we bought Fabianski, Diop, Balbuena.
Sanchez, don't forget him.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
How can I forget the man that come in, done fuck all, and got injured for a whole season on 70 grand a week, which is brilliant. I think what they did, out of all of it, was they looked at Balbuena and they looked at the fact that he only cost 4 million. And he's probably been one of the best signings we've had in the last 5 years, and he's going to probably be the mainstay of that defence. I think what they've done is they've gone, look, here's 45 million. If you can buy 4 or 5
Balbuenas, exactly,
they're fantastic. And the minute you've heard recently that Pellegrini's come out and said, I'm happy with my squad, I don't believe he is. I think he's having to be satisfied with what he's got because he knows he can't get anything else. And also he's trying to be very professional and say that, look, I'm not happy, but I don't want to rock the boat too much. But I think that if we're going to move on, we have to probably get new ownership. But the problem is that the owners have always said we're open to negotiations, which basically mean we want you to give us loads of money and not have anything to do with the club. You leave it all to us. So what they're going to basically say is, if some billionaire owner comes in, they're not going to step down completely. They'll maybe say, okay, you can invest in the club. You can give us 200 million for transfers in the summer, but we still want to be, co-owners of this club. We're not going to step down at all, which is unfortunate.
You give us 1 billion, and you can have 49%.
Yeah, pretty much. But they're still going to want their foot at the driving seat, which is for me, we're not going to go anywhere. If we do, it'll be against better judgment. But I can't see us going much further. Hopefully we do, and in spite of them, we become successful. But not for me. I can't see it.
I don't want a billionaire owner. I don't. When you look at what's happened to when you look what happened to Chelsea, you look what's happened to Man City. I mean, I think it's ripped the heart out of clubs.
Yeah, but they are back-to-back Premier League champions, though.
Yeah, but at what cost? At what cost? And I've got friends who are great Man City fans.
Yeah,
and I'm real good friends with the Man City group here in Dallas, but and they're good people because I think they go way back to Old City. But you look at the new Man City fans, and you look at the way they are when they're in the stadium. They sit on their hands. They wait to be entertained. So, and it's I don't like that. And I think a lot of this. I think we screwed up when we did this. Like, buy one season ticket, get another one, and we got a lot of those buy one get one free type of things. I think we got a stadium filled with a bunch of people that really don't give a crap. So, I'd like to see those fans kind of. I think it'd be good, and if we had I think it would be good if we had a really crap season and sorted out a bunch of those snowflakes and got rid of them, and then brought in some real fans.
I think a lot, as much as it pains me to say, the kind of the way we should have done it is how Spurs have done it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You kind of knock down your stadium, you build over it, you still keep the same sort of structure, in ownership and recruitment and stuff like that. But the other hand is that I know what you're saying, Wayne, but on the other hand, you go, well, what do you actually want? Because you can have the Man City stuff and the Chelsea stuff. They've got trophies. They've been winners. They've got world class players in their team. Okay, they chop and change manager quite often with Chelsea, especially Chelsea. But fundamentally, they're up there. They're up there winning the top six every year. And City are fighting. City are one of the top clubs now. And unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, that's the way football's gone.
That's the way it's gone.
And I know people say they want the struggle still. You've got Man City fans there, and they still remember Stockport away on a Tuesday night.
They don't remember that crap.
Some of them.
Some of them might do. Yeah, some of them might do.
I believe Noel Gallagher and Liam won't. Even how much they shout they're true Man City fans, but I think I totally get what you're saying, Wayne, and it is kind of one of my fears that I have. But we're halfway there already. I mean, you look walking through. I walk through. I get off at Liverpool Street most weekends to go and see West Ham, and I'll go get on the tube, go to Stratford, and walk through Westfield. Westfield don't want us there. Westfield they never wanted us there at all. They've always said we don't want football fans because football fans bring I'll be honest with you, a bit of fear. You look at people who walk past with a West Ham shirt on. They go, oh, it's a football fan. Must be a hooligan or something like that. But it's one of the reasons why we can't play a home game at Boxing Day anymore because Westfield.
See that cracks me up. If they want football fans to create some fear, they should have gone back in my bloody day. That was when there was fear, not now. Not now. Now it's like forget it. Well, what they're afraid of is that some kid's going to stick him in the eye with half a Twix bar. I mean, come on. Let's be real here.
I must admit, I'm exaggerating, but you do get a certain look going. Oh, if you're a football fan,
you do.
You're not here to just do your shopping in JD Sports and go home again. I know you're here for a bit of a party time. So yeah, you do get a bit of a bit. Look, it is what it is. Football moves on, and it's just annoying for me that we've moved on from Upton Park, and it's almost like we've gone one step forward, two steps back. Because even though we've moved to a stadium with a big stadium, there is no soul to it. And I know a lot of people say that you got to wait for that soul to redevelop and you got to create your own history at a new stadium. But fuck me, are they dragging us along with this soul thing? It's like, help us out. We're trying.
So the way to do that,
trying
though,
to get the atmosphere back, but Jesus Christ.
the way that there is an atmosphere in that stadium, because I
Yeah.
haven't been there live because I've only been to the stadium once. I haven't been to the London Stadium live when it's been proper booming, but like when you watch it on TV for like the Chelsea game, for example, or the Spurs game, and I talk to my dad about this a lot. To get the atmosphere that you want in the stadium, the fans need something on the pitch to scream about.
Yeah.
To get the stuff on the pitch to work well, you need that from the owners. It's like a triangle effect. Like one will always follow
feed off of each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, the only time I ever saw the opposite of that was under it was on a David Moyes. It was on a midweek game against Leicester, and it was a 1-1 draw, but we felt we needed the win. It was about 60 minutes gone, and West Ham were playing crap. We were playing terrible, and the fans had been singing, trying to push us on, trying to push the team on, and it wasn't working. And then after a while, I think it's Bobby Moore lower. They just gave up on the players, and they thought, right, we're here, we're just going to sing for ourselves. And they started a Mexican wave / ripple effect across the whole stadium, where you could literally feel the stadium rocking. It was literally vibrating. And then suddenly the players started looking around at each other, going, "Where's this come from?" It was incredible. I shivered down my spine. And then you saw the Leicester players going, "Shit, we've
got to discover new things. I mean, we've got a different type of stadium. We've got to do new things. When you look at where Roma plays, they play in a crap Olympic type stadium. They got that place rocking. They got it rocking all the time.
I'll tell you the reason why I say it as well. The ironic thing about it is because we had Andre Ayew playing for us at that time, and I think the game previous he came up against Spurs, I think it was, and he played terrible. He was booed off by the fans, really booed off. Like he was like head down, no confidence. He actually come on as a sub in that Leicester game, and he went gung ho, like I'm gonna do this to the fans and try and win him back. And they were cheering for Ayew. He went through to the box, and everyone's like, "Come on, Ayew, go!" He went down to get a penalty, and the whole crowd was going, "Penalty! You should have a penalty." And he was like, didn't get given. The game went on, but it was incredible. The fans just went, "Right, sod it. We're gonna sing for ourselves." And it pumped the fans up. He pumped the players up, and even Albrighton come out after the game and went, "We was intimidated by that." And there's only been about maybe 5 games since I've been there at that stadium where I felt like, wow, that was an immense atmosphere. It can't happen every game. That'd be ridiculous to ask that for every game.
Exactly. Well, it never happened every game at Upton Park either. I mean, I've stood at Upton Park, and it's been like, I'm sorry for the people that say Upton Park was, the Magic Kingdom, so to speak. Yeah. It was, it wasn't. I've been at Upton Park where it's been frigging awful sometimes. It depends on what's going on. I stood at Upton Park sometimes and go, what a freaking toilet. What a toilet. Nobody's singing, nobody's into it. And it would just be like a small group of us that were really going for it. So it happens, and all of it, like you said, it's down to what you said, Gaz. It's that triangle. You have to have the product, the fans, and you have to have the ownership that's feeding into it. So,
yeah, exactly. You need the board to get the right team on the pitch, and then the team needs to play right on the pitch for the fans in the stands to get going. And realistically, the only thing that West Ham supporters want to see is they want to see people get fucking stuck in.
Hard workers.
That's the only thing I want to see. That's why I like people like Snodgrass, because he runs his bollocks off.
Hard workers. Let's talk about hard work here. Let's talk about Irons United. How did you get started with Irons United, mate?
Oh, this is a funny one. I had nothing to do with anything. To be honest with you, it was just literally by chance.
Fine then. Let's forget about that. Then let's go on to the next subject. No, come on, mate.
It's all right. I've been involved in a few pages of admin. I've been trying to sort of get into football pages and a few groups and see what I could do. And nothing was really taking off, to be honest with you. And then one of the admins of Irons United put out a little status on Facebook saying, "Oh, if anyone wants to join a team, give us a message and we'll go from there." So I thought I was at that moment any opportunity I can to get somewhere in this, and I've done it. Just sent a message saying this, that, and the other. I'm interested in West Ham fan, blah this, blah that. and got invited into the group, got invited into the page, become an admin, and literally got on with all the lads instantly. You know, we just hit it like a family after a little while. But after a week, just got involved. Went for a few meetups here and there. Just basically, it was a complete chance, quick message. How you doing? I'm interested in becoming part of the group. Got involved, and I've been involved ever since. We're like a little family, Irons United. You know, we're very, very, very close knit. We all get on like house on fire, and we've just been, yeah, it's been with that. Like, they got involved in the YouTube channel, everything, literally just by chance. Quick message, bang, there you go.
What would you say is the most fun about doing something like this?
I think it's being part of a group where you're all in with the same thing. You know, we're all West Ham fans. I mean, you know, you can go to work with people and you can meet a few real West Ham fans. You can have a chat for 8 hours while you're at work. Then you go home again to your family. You know, it's all bosh. You know, you can you know, go out with your mates. You have certain, you know, mates and wherever you can go and, you know, be West Ham fans together and this, that, and the other. But I think when you're running, social media is 24/7. So
Yeah.
you're constantly seeing things popping up, and you talk about them. You know, obviously with transfers, you're being linked with this player and the other player, and I think it's just being part of that community where you're just involved with a very small group knit of people, maybe about 10, 5 people, something like that. And like you are, American Hammers, you know, you know yourselves, you know, you get involved in one group and you go, oh, there's another group over there, another group over there, another group over there. And being in America, you know, it's kind of like being a West Ham fan is a small community because you're not a massive top European club, but you're
Yeah.
still big with your support, you're still big with the connection. And I personally, I like it because I think myself, I'm quite a creative person, so I'll put like a meme every now and then, or I'll put there's a video that goes out and whatever, and you can reach other West Ham fans, and it's like I used to be where you go and talk to like 200 people in a group, and you could put little, you know, funny, you know, meme or whatever you want to put out there, or you put like a little, you know, topic to talk about, and you'd be talking about them. But if you've got a page of like 6,000 people, and you get shares and comments, all the rest of it, it's like, oh, this is a bit of a buzz, and then it's just think of it as like a community.
Yeah.
You're like a community between yourselves, and it all works out. You're all about the same thing, which is West Ham. And obviously, you know, you have likes and dislikes around that, and you just get on really. It's literally like being at work, but you're not getting paid for it. You're just spending like all this
Seriously.
time 2 with people, you know.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could get paid for it. I know that, you know, we've certainly, you know, we've had help from all of the groups back home, and I know even one of your lads out even helped Tim and us out with creating our logo, and
Yeah.
so we've you know, we really appreciate all the help that we've always got. And I think you're right. It's like it's funny. I mean, we look at our analytics from the episodes, and it's like we 70% of our audience comes from England, which is like blows us away.
Yeah.
We're like, what are we doing wrong, American Hammers? Why won't you watch us? Why won't you bloody watch us, America? So maybe it's because we've got all these Englishmen on the channel. I don't bloody know. But
I think maybe put yourself in a nice suit and give yourself a stage name, and you know, maybe have a few spotlights going around. You might look a bit more like a Jay Leno or a, you know, James Corden or something like that. You know, coming on.
yeah, well, see,
Maybe
I
that's
come out with my,
you know.
my twin brother Nigel every once in a while comes on, you know, who does like this stupid idiot view, and I get more calls for that than I do like any of my American characters that I bring on. So, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I think you're right. It's all
Yeah.
about community.
I'm
Definitely
quite
about
surprised you asked that
community.
question. Yeah, that threw me about it actually, 'cause no one's actually asked me what's so good about being it. But if anyone's going to think of it, if anyone watches any of these videos or follows any of these pages and groups on Facebook and all that, if you can get involved, it'd be one of the best things you can do because I was talking to someone a little while back and they were saying they used to go and just talk to the dad and their brother or their friend
Hmm.
about West Ham, and after an hour, the conversation's dead. And once they joined a group like Irons United, like American Hammers, and all that, suddenly they're in their element because they're talking
Yeah,
about it almost practically all day, and you know they
seriously.
can they can then go on YouTube or they can go on Facebook and Twitter and put their opinion out, and people are talking back to them, and that is people will knock social media and say it's all this and all that, but there's massively good things about it, and it brings people
Oh, there's
together
massive,
in a way that
massive
you
positives
wouldn't you
for
wouldn't
sure.
understand.
Yeah, it's funny. My missus always says to me, she says, "You're glued to that phone." I'm like, well, I've been unemployed for 9 months. I've had a tough 9 months, and without this phone, without social media, I would have had no connection to the world, because, quite frankly, it's cheap.
Yeah,
it's cheap when I manage to stay in touch with people and grow friendships, and the West Ham community has kept me sane the last 9 months while I've been looking for work, and I finally start a job tomorrow, which is fantastic. But but it's been communities like Irons United, and it's been communities like West Ham Fan TV and Hammers Chat and American Hammers TV and all of the West Ham fan groups out there that have really have made my life bearable the last 9 months. Yeah,
it's
without
like therapy.
Serious, dude, and it's a lot cheaper than going to a bloody psych.
So speaking of Irons United, they're in here in the chat tonight. They say evening all, and then this one I'm assuming is for you, Luke. It says, "What's our Tango man talking about?"
Tell the bloody watch.
Yeah, what does that mean? What's are you the Tango man?
I thought we moved on from that. Basically, I'll go to say what I used to use a bit of a dodgy webcam, which made the lighting really really poor. Look orange. Very orange, like a from Essex, but really bad. Sort
of one of these deals like.
You look very grey, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah, so I would painting a very good picture of myself at the minute, but I've moved on from that. I'm using a better camera now, so that part of my life is over. That nightmare's gone. That's all right now.
Have you seen the time, Wayne?
I have seen the time. Yeah, it's funny. Tim always says to me, he says, when you get a good guest on, you totally forget the time. So
no, you do.
I totally forget the time, and it's been great chatting. So we usually do a couple of polls from Hammers Polls. So I guess we'll cut it down and we'll do one poll from Hammers Polls today. Okay. So let's see what their most recent one is. Actually, it's a pretty good one. Okay, so Hammers Polls, as everyone knows, they're on Twitter pretty large, and you can also check them out at hammerspolls.com. And let's see what they've got here. Actually, let's do two of them here. I think we can do two of them pretty quick. Who starts at left back against City? Masuaku, Cresswell, Johnson, or are you undecided?
Well, not Cresswell after the Newcastle game. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so not Cresswell.
Just put it out there. I've had this argument with Irons United. I'll make it very quickly. I'm a huge Masuaku fan. Not putting him in left back because he can't defend for Toffee. For me, he's a left wing back, but mainly I'd love to see him on the left wing. I don't know who he'd replace in the team, but maybe if you just put him on as a sub or something like that. He's not good defensively. I've realised that, but going forward, he's brilliant. For me, he is brilliant. But the way it's going, I'd stick with Masuaku just for the fact that if you're going to chuck in Ben Johnson, it's maybe a bit too much for him. But saying that, he done very well in the game he played against Mahrez, for example, when we only lost 1-0, didn't deserve to lose that game. So it's between Masuaku and Johnson for me, and I think just for experience, I think it has to be Masuaku. But I wouldn't mind Johnson getting a start. To be fair, if he was
okay. What do you reckon, Gaz?
For me personally, I'd go with Masuaku, to be honest, just because going forward he's got that bit of flair about him. And in the chat down here as well, we've got two. So Jason says Masuaku. Irons United say Cresswell. My boy Pierre Celestin, he says Cresswell, and we've also got Adam Jessop. Sorry, mate. He says Masuaku as well. I thought you just changed your answer there, Pierre, but you didn't. Ken Maguire says Masuaku. Penny Lawless says Johnson for me. So
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I'm going Cresswell, even though he was like the least chosen. Yeah, everyone pretty much went for Masuaku on the poll. I still like Cresswell, and only for the fact that Masuaku, in my book, is not a defender. I think he's a brilliant winger. I think he's fantastic. If we could push him up more, I think he's just absolutely freaking fantastic. But I didn't think Cresswell did too incredibly bad against Newcastle.
Okay, right. Okay, before you say it, after this, I'll send you a link to a video that's just come out.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't think he did too incredibly bad. Okay, anyway, I'm sticking with Chris. Well, okay, one more poll here. Okay. Let's see. Are the Hammers in talks with Bale? Is this a late summer signing? Would you have him at the club? I'm only joking. Now. This is for a laugh.
Go nowhere.
Would you have Bale?
Me? No, because he's ex-Tottenham and he's injury prone, and we don't need no ex-Tottenham coming over here thinking they're all that and all that. You know, I'd have him for about, you know, a third of his price, maybe.
I wouldn't have him just because he's got that stupid Barnet. End of story. Don't want him.
If he can work it, mate. Is that jealousy? Is that jealousy talking?
Yeah, totally. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, definitely.
If he shaved his hair, his head, I'd take him.
Shave his head, get a bald ringer on the go. Yeah.
Seriously, we need a nice bald striker. That's what we need. Is a nice bald striker. What do you reckon, Gaz?
He plays on wings. That's going to help, isn't
it? I mean, realistically, we're never going to get somebody like Gareth Bale. But if he did lower his wages and we could take him, I would have him for sure. I'd have him on the left and I'd have Anderson on the right. That's how I'd work.
He's not going to lower his wages, though, is he?
Well, fuck him then.
Yeah. Spot on. So, I think, are there anything else that people have got to add in the chat room there, Gaza?
Pierre says Bale's never come in. Pointless. Our midfield is stacked, and we don't need him. Also coming from Pierre. Matthew Howard, he wrote something and then retracted it. So I don't know if that was a bit R-rated.
Yeah.
Ken White says no brainer. He says no, I wouldn't have Bale. With who we have in midfield, we don't need him. So the majority of people say no, but I think that's more fuck him because he's ex-Tottenham.
I'll tell you what, I think it was bloody awful the way Zidane talked about him. I mean, it's just like really disrespectful considering what he's done for the club there. So.
But did you? In fairness, Bale has come out recently and going, "Do you want to play for Real Madrid again?" He went, "No, I'd rather play golf." So I'll spend 9 hours on the. I'll spend 9 hours a day on the golf thing rather than going Real Madrid. I'll get my move eventually. So it's a bit of tit for tat, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, let's face it, he's ex-Tottenham anyway, so we all hate him.
Yeah, but before I go, I quickly just want to get this thing out. We've got this thing at Irons United in the script chat, and it's starting to do our heads in. Two blokes, who act like children, to be honest, most of the time. They have an ongoing debate. Who is better out of Bonner and Winston Reid? Now, I just want to get you two, maybe if the group chat want to get involved, the live chat, if they want to get involved as well. But just please, just so that you can put your 2 pennies worth, so we can have some more fuel to the fire. Wayne, who is, if you had to pick one, would it be Bonner or would it be Reid?
Blimey. You know, I'm going to say Bonner right now, only because Winston Reid's getting on and he's injury prone right now. That's the only reason why.
Oh, that's going to hurt the chat.
Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Gaz, what's your...
Winston Reid for me, mate. I can't fucking stand the Bonner.
Right. Okay. That's. I'm in that camp as well, actually. But yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying it because he's an unknown quantity right now, and he's so old. So, he's so old, and he's old like me. It's like you might as well have me. Okay, listen. I've got. I know it's right at the end here. We've got some quick fire questions that we're going to run past you real quick, and then we're going to let you go. How does that sound?
Please do.
Okay, so here we go. Quick 5 questions. Meat pie or apple pie?
Meat pie.
Okay. Who is your favourite current West Ham player? Obviously, Antonio, good. Who frustrates you most in the current West Ham squad?
Oh, Creswell. I have to go quickly, Creswell.
Oh, gosh. FA Cup or top 6 finish?
Oh, don't do this to me. Okay. Top 6, you say? Okay, I'll take a cup over top 6.
Everyone's saying the cup.
Top 4, maybe pushing it, but cup over top 6. But top Top 4 would be tasty.
I might have to start. I might have to change this question up a bit.
Yeah,
because top four, I would choose top 4 over an FA Cup.
But
then
it's really hard. Really hard.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
be pointless. If we got in the top 4,
6.
we just get bounced out of the Champions League the following season because we.
Yeah, but look at those trips we'd go on.
We couldn't.
Brilliant trips.
No fucking.
Look at the piss ups.
We somehow get beaten by Astra fucking Gugu again.
Astra fucking.
Yeah, they probably make it. Thank you, Don, for that. We'll never live that one down. Okay. What about West Ham do you love?
The piss ups.
Yeah, there you go.
It has to be.
Has to be. What about West Ham do you hate?
The piss ups.
The losing, actually. No.
Yeah.
That's quickly. I walked out of Huddersfield game. I've never done that ever in my life before, and it was for a lot more reasons just for the result. I walked out of Huddersfield and we were losing 3-1, and as I'm walking out the ground, they go and win 4-3.
Do you know what? That's the game that I was at. I was back in England in March. That's the only game that I've ever been to.
Oh my gosh.
Fair play.
So that's what you hate, huh?
I'm not proud of it. Well, you're mugging me off, but mug myself off, really.
Okay. What sound, not necessarily football, but what sound makes you happy?
Orgasms and cheering last minute winners.
What is your favourite curse word?
Cunt.
Always. Let's see. What team do you love to beat?
Millwall. Come on, behave.
Yeah. Name a player, past or present day, that epitomises West Ham United.
Di Canio.
Yep. If you could take a time machine back to experience anything to do with West Ham United, where would you go?
This is a weird one because I'm going to say the 2006 Cup final because I don't experience the hate again, but that game was just insane.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't. There's not many that great memories to be honest. There's a lot, but has to be.
I watched that in New York City with a guy I'd never met before. I left my apartment and I saw West Ham flags hanging up in a window, and I shouted up to the window, and that's how I met this geezer. So we watched it in his flat. So
when that 90-minute mark comes up and then you get the 3 additional minutes, though, would you have them hold on to the ball in the corner or would you let it play out how it did?
I'd have Anton Ferdinand go over and just stick a right hook on Scolani so he just gets knocked out. He'd have to pop the ball back to Liverpool. Yeah, just someone just go and push him off the pitch. Just
give him a corner. Give him a corner. Do something.
Yeah.
Sad day. Sad day. Well, that's it from us then, isn't it, mate? It's from us.
Yeah.
Luke, cheers, mate. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the show, as always.
Been told by Irons United folk that I do drag on and talk a lot and talk for YouTube and Britain whatever. So I do apologise if I've overstayed my.
Bollocks, you haven't overstayed.
So,
you've
been great, my man.
We loved it.
So
we absolutely loved it.
Loved it as well. Appreciate it.
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. We got some great stuff off of you, and you know you're always invited back. You know that, mate.
Lovely, appreciate it. Same to you as well, for Irons United. Come on, we'll guest you anytime. No problem.
But serious, you just ask us. You know that. You know that. Lovely. So big thank you, of course, to our sponsors. Gazza, who are they again, Gaz?
Drinkwaredesign.com and StravaCraftCoffee.com.
There you go.
And also, before we leave, anybody that's in the chat, thank you for coming in tonight. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And
and don't forget to hit that bell notification. So, boom. Yeah, we're pushing really hard to get to the 700 mark right now. So come on, guys. Like, subscribe, share the channel with people. And even if people aren't going to watch it, we want you to subscribe. So get your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, and everybody to subscribe because we desperately need to get to that 700 mark. So, okay? Yeah. Not that we're desperate or anything. So there's only one thing left to say, and that is, come on, you Irons!
Come on, you Irons.